Welcome to Nana's. I'm Shelly Carlson. Nana, I'm glad you're here. We're going to make an upcycled jeans pocket purse today. It's out of an old pair of jeans and they get a new life when you cut the pocket off the back and do some painting on the front, and then add a strap or handle that you can use to make it a purse or a crossbody bag for your cell phone. So it is a really fun one. It takes a little bit of sewing on the sewing machine. We do a little bit of zigzag stitching around the edge, and the rest is hand painting. You can make any design you want. So let's go have some fun. I wanted a project I could do that we would use up some old jeans. So I cut the back pocket off, and we're going to use that pocket to make a little purse or a little pocket to hold a cell phone, whatever you'd like to use it for, or for garden tools or for some kitchen things. So we're going to need a scissors to cut out our pocket, and I'm going to cut a piece of denim from one of the legs of the jeans to make a handle for the top or a strap. And we're going to paint on our jeans today. You could choose to embroider, but to make this really easy, I'm going to paint. So I'm going to need my other paint supplies as well. Some water to rinse my brushes in, and my paint brushes, of course. I use a plate for my palette. That's a mouthful. So I went ahead and put some colors of paint on my plate, and I'm going to paint a design on the pocket. So I'm going to slip a piece of paper into the pocket just to keep that paint from going all the way through. I don't think that it will, but just to be better safe than sorry. And I'm going to paint a design here and then cut it out and sew the strap on. So the next step is to paint the pocket, which is really fun. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of embroidery on denim, and we're going to do that in a future project, but not today. We're going to just use the paints. I'm going to bring this project to my granddaughters, and I think that they would enjoy painting this time. So that's what we're going to do. So I've got my water and my paints ready to go. So let's give this a try. Oh, this is fun. It's a blank palette. I'm going to do some flowers. I'm going to make some kind of daisy flowers with little circles. You can do any design that you want on here, which is so fun. And it often works really nicely to draw your design out on another piece of paper before you start, because many times once you get going, you change your mind. You know how that is? And then you already have your paint on here. So I really do recommend that. I did know that I was wanting to do flowers and kind of a bouquet of them, kind of wildflowers, I think. So I'll just be doing a variety of little floral designs here. So these are kind of like little daisies, and this might soak up some of this paint. I may have to come back and add a little bit more on top in order to make it real visible. I don't know for sure. I'm going to make kind of like a little semicircle here, I think. I think a person could make animals or dinosaurs or just a plain design of some sort on here, which would be pretty. I try to get most of the water off of my brush, tapping and then gently touching it on the paper towel, because if you get too much water in here, it waters down the paint too much. I think I'm going to make kind of a stemmed flower that has a series of little flowers on it. One of the things I love about living on the farm is the wildflowers. They just pop up all times of the year so unexpectedly out in the pasture, and because of where I live, just kind of out in my backyard. It's pretty cool. I have to be careful when I paint different places like this that I don't set my hand back down on it, so I often use my finger to kind of lift me up off of the surface that I'm painting, and then I can stay on, my hand doesn't have to rest on there, and yet I still have some stability when I'm painting, or I don't have to just paint in the air. I'm leaning against something, but I'm off the side of my denim so it won't accidentally make the paint smear. I'm going to go ahead and put a few stems in here so I can see where I'm going. Add a few little leaves. Almost looks like a bunch of grapes. We have a wildflower called wild blue indigo that has this kind of a clustered purple flower on it. which is why I kind of chose that. All right, I have a pink that I'm going to add in there. And let's see, we'll do some little pink flowers that kind of show up everywhere. How's that for a deal? I'm going to come back and put some little pink or yellow centers in the centers of some of these flowers. They kind of look like the blue ones, except they're smaller. That's okay, because I'm kind of wanting them to be more wildflowers, or else I could make like a tulip shape or something in there if I wanted. Oh, those are cute. They look like the little wild roses that are next to the road where I walk in the mornings. So if you can see, I'm trying to make kind of a scooped shape on my purse, on my little pocket. Yeah, that pink is kind of soaking into the denim also. I'm going to have to go back over that maybe when it's dry and make it a little brighter. I'm excited to see what kinds of designs you come up with. Remember, it does not have to be like mine. You can do whatever design you want. It can be stars or a logo of something that you really like. It can be kind of a southwest looking design, or it could be a plaid. You could paint mountains. You could paint, yeah, like a little scene that you want to have on your purse or your pocket, like a little mountain with a sun on it or something. That would be cool. So there's all kinds of things that you could make with it as far as the design goes. Okay, I'm going to grab my white here. I'm going to add a little bit of white, I think. I didn't have that on my plate. I'm going to add a white flower just to kind of lighten it up. It'd be kind of some little bell-shaped things. Kind of hard to tell the shape because the denim is making it kind of pebble up, but that's okay. Let's add some more stems on and let's see how much that's drying, and it's not quite so bright now. I like that a little bit better. Alright, so we'll add a few stems to the pink ones and to the white ones. They're kind of a bell, so they come off to one side. They're supposed to be leaves. It's kind of hard to paint on denim because it has such a surface on it. I'll paint in a little more greenery to kind of fill it out here, like it has some grasses down here coming up. And that's the way the prairie flowers sit. They kind of sit in the middle of some grasses. And that will kind of fill it in a little bit too. I don't want to fill it completely up, but just give that idea of grass and leaves. Okay, now let's go back and add a few of those little yellow centers, and maybe I'll add a few more flowers. We'll see. It's going to be on the blue ones and the pink ones, so far at least. We might even add a few yellow flowers because it's bright and cheerful. But I kind of wanted to work in pastel colors. Here we go. What do you think of that? I might add a couple more blue flowers, and then we're going to call it good. Kind of nice to have a blue flower over here. Oops, got a little bit too much paint on my brush. So painting, you kind of have to eyeball it a little bit too to decide what it is that you like and where you want that extra color. I have to come back with some yellow on that. I'm going to put a little more pink on some of these little flowers so that they show up better. That'll make it pop, the color pop a little bit better. Very curious what your design is going to be when you do your purse or pocket. You don't have to sew this at all, but we're going to sew a strap on it. Oh, I'm liking that better when the pink is showing up a little more. Okay, come back and do the yellow centers on these blue ones we added. I like that. What do you think? Clean your brushes really well so you can use them again. I don't leave them sitting in the water or it'll hurt the bristles of the brush. And I just kind of get those all clean and let them dry. So there you have it. Wow, I like that. I'm going to take this out. It does not look like any paint went through there. I'm going to cut the extra off around the edge. You could leave some of it and let it fray, and that would be cool. I'm going to leave a little piece on the top in order to sew my strap on. Make that nice and even. But I'm going to cut off all the rest. Okay. Then I'm going to cut a strap out of the denim and sew it on. This is a mess, I know, but trust me. I cut one of the legs open on the pair of jeans. I'm going to take a ruler. I cut straight line down one of the legs. Then I'm going to take a ruler and draw a line. This is about 1 inch wide. So I'm going to make a strap that's about 1 inch wide. All the way down the leg. And this would be about the right size for a child. It would need to be longer for an adult. So I would need to add on an extra piece in order to make it long enough for me. I would need to take a second piece and sew it on. So I'm going to just cut that piece along the line that I drew. I really like cutting when it's nice and flat. I wasn't doing that before. Sorry about that. That's not a good example. Cut that piece off because it's so hard to sew through. Okay, so I have an entire length of a leg, and for me, I would need to attach a second piece on and make it longer. But I'm going to go to the sewing machine and zigzag the edge so it does not unravel. So this is kind of noisy. It's my old sewing machine I've had for many, many years. I'm going to set it on a zigzag stitch, about 4 wide and about 3 in length, 2.5 maybe. Hold my threads as I start, and what I'm going to be doing is zigzagging on the edge of the strap so it doesn't ravel or fray on the edge too much. You don't have to do this if you don't mind that fraying, but it will unravel over time. So I'm just going to zigzag the whole length of the strap. I use my hands to guide this, and the zigzag should be right on the edge of the strap without going off the edge. So you can see that right here. And then do the other side. There you go. There's the strap. Zigzag so it doesn't fray too much. It will still fray a little bit, but not too much. So I'm going to be sewing my strap onto my purse. I left a little extra piece on top of here to get that extra wrangler on here, because this one's going to be for me, the one that we'll be painting later on after we have this all ready. So I'm going to zigzag a little on the edge, if it will let me. It's so thick. I don't know if it's going to let me. And then I'm going to put this right behind and zigzag. I'm going to back up and do it one more time because that takes quite a bit of stress. Then I'm going to go across the front, the top of the purse. That's going to be seen, and I don't want it to fray too much. And then I'll put the handle on the back of this side. And sew over that a couple times. And then do this last side. There you have it. So I got the handle sewn on and it is ready to go. I wanted to show you that I do use a little scissors and trim away these extra threads that are kind of fraying off of the handle. You can just do that every once in a while. But what I'm excited to use this little pocket for is this, my cell phone. Ta-da! I can carry around my cell phone and maybe a pen in this little pocket, and then I'm not going to be looking for it all over the house. Come on over to Welcome to Nana's for lots more ideas. Come join the fun.